What up, YouTube? Before we start the video, we got a very important announcement for you.
That's right, we have our new milestone giveaway for 2,000 subscribers. That is a CGC 9.8 graded Thor #1. This cover is a Nick Klein sketch variant that is also signed by Donnie Cates.
What? Are you crazy? Yes, we are. When we hit 2,000 subs, we're giving away this bad boy. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. It would be much appreciated because we want to give this away, but we only can do that when we hit 2,000 subs. Let's get to the video. What up, comic fam? I'm Jim.
I'm Blaine.
And this is Two Fat Guys Pull Us with another fresh new Comic Book Day video for you for the week of May 21st. And in Two Fat Guys Pull Us breaking news, this is basically Blaine's show. I mean, he's got all the books.
Yeah, it's a big week for me. You know, like, again, I've talked about cutting back a little bit. You know, the past couple weeks I've had like 2 or 3, but you know, that's how it is. Like on League of Comic Geeks, there's like a chart of like your buying graph, and mine is just like this. Like all of my books kind of hit on like 1 week for some reason. And I think that's big for me too.
There we go. All right, well, let's just kick it off. No indies this week. We're kicking it off with DC with World's Finest, issue number 39. And isn't that the villain in the background? Oh, like there's a ton of like multiversal. What was that series? The Death Metal. It kind of feels like it's got a Death Metal vibe.
Forever. I don't know. I can never remember. Yeah, and that's why this is on my list. I think I mentioned previously that I'm not actively reading World's Finest anymore, and I didn't even pick up the first part of We Are Yesterday, but I was impressed by We Are Yesterday Part 3, or whichever one it was. That was Justice League Unlimited. And what has me most interested in We Are Yesterday, this little mini crossover that Mark Waid is doing with World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited, is this cover and the cover of the next one, because I love the multiverse. I'm a sucker for the multiverse. I love when Grant Morrison goes and explores every 52 Earth, and Jeff Johns kind of like shows all the different little beings. And here you have these villains from across events forever. So you mentioned Dark Knight's Metal, you have the Batman Who Laughs. You got that guy in the bottom right. I can never remember his name, but he's like on Crisis in Infinite Earths, and he was just in a Joshua Williamson big event.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember the details of that one.
Dark Crisis Infinite Earth?
Yes, Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yes, he was in that as well. And his name, it's not Parallax, but it's something like that. Yeah. And then you have Perpetua up top, and then you have Ultraman, and I love Ultraman. He's like the dark Superman from Earth 2 over there on the left. And so this has me interested. And then when you get to the next, I think part 5, you get all like the hero versions of across the universe. And I just love multiversal stuff. But I just wanted to say that this is one where I add it to my list, and then I walk in the shop, I flip through it, and I take a look at the art, and I see, is this consequential, or is this like, you know, just another sort of issue? And I either pick it up or put it back depending on that. So I don't always pick up my books. Yeah. And I just wanted to let everybody know that this is a maybe for me. And you're gonna have to tune in, you know, our next episode to find out whether I read it or not.
Maybes are the best hook. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. I will say this. I bitch about the multiverse and like the different continuities in DC. I loved Dark Knights and Dark Knight's Death Metal. I like when they abandoned those storylines and jumped to a different. I was like, why'd you do that? I liked it so much. Like what they did in those and the continuity they set up, I thought was really fun. So them kind of playing here. I'm not saying I'm picking up the book, but I am intrigued. So I'm very interested to hear if you do read it. If you maybe do read it.
So do you like the multiverse in Marvel?
Yes and no. It just depends. It kind of just depends.
Well, so you don't like the multiverse in DC, and then it depends on if you like it in Marvel.
Yes, yeah, I know it does. You know, I'm having my cake and eat it too, and I don't care.
So when do you like the multiverse in Marvel?
Probably when it's with X-Men.
Okay,
and that's even worse. So I don't know. I don't want to say Avengers because that just gets really sloppy. So yeah, I'd probably say X-Men. Like when they do the team from the original run comes into their current continuity, I'm like, okay, I like that. And so when I think we're about to do that with the Age of Apocalypse, right? They're bringing in storylines and characters from Age of Apocalypse and throwing them into the 616. And I'm kind of like,
Mhm.
well, now I got to go read Age of Apocalypse. And I think it's just because I'm that much of an X-Men fan that it doesn't bother me, even if it doesn't make sense. So
Totally. Okay, I got you. I think the original team was more of a time travel, maybe not a multiversal situation.
okay.
But I think Age of Apocalypse, they have put it on another universe. And I know, like, when they were blowing up all the worlds in a Secret Wars, that I think Age of Apocalypse was one of those worlds, but I'm not sure.
And I will say the Ultimates right now. I mean, I'm absolutely loving that too, and that's a multiversal situation too. So
We'll get to that coming up.
All right. Next up, we have Detective Comics issue 1097.
This is another maybe for me. And Tom Taylor is writing this one, and I love the cover of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Taylor, I kind of fell in love with him whenever he was doing his long Nightwing run. He did some really great work on Superboy. Is it Superboy? Superman's son. I can't remember. I quite liked it. And I love this artist as well that does the cover art. He's not doing interiors here. I thought the first arc of this Detective Comics was just okay. It was a lot of like, let's mine sort of the past and talk about Joe Chill. And Joe Chill, has like maybe a family. And then there's all this stuff. The stuff that I thought was interesting, and they play with this a lot, is longevity in Batman and how can he still do this, and how exactly old is he, and are his knees giving out? And so there's this like tech company that has this drug that experimental drug that he's taking, and it's helping him be younger and stuff like this. But are there adverse side effects? I think that is still going to be in play with this next arc, because I was looking forward at a couple solicits and reading stuff about like an immortality cult, which to me sounds a lot like Lazarus and Ra's al Ghul. So we'll see if they come in. But again, this is a maybe for me. I thought the first arc was just okay. I didn't pick up the annual. That was a different writer. But this is one where I don't know if this is a start of like a official full next arc, or if this is like one of those, like, I think there might be like a 2-issue like little in-betweener before the next arc. So it's kind of a big maybe for me, but I love that cover and just wanted to put it on the show.
The cover looks very classic. I like it as well too. I like the colors. I like the form. It looks really good.
Yeah, I believe that's Mikkel Janin, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you say his name right, but I love his art.
Right on. All right, next up we have the New Gods, issue number 6, Run, 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 Death is Back, the Black Racer. This, to me, is the closest thing outside of Tynian's Nice House by the Sea indie book, right? I mean, we're dealing with classic DC characters, but Ram V is doing such a great job of really telling, I believe, his own story for the New Gods. Now, that's coming from a perspective of someone that has no clue about the New Gods. So a seasoned DC reader might be reading this and going, "This is a classic take. These are great takes on these characters. Feels very familiar." But for me, it feels like the way it's being written, it doesn't feel like I have to know everything to enjoy this story. But then at the same time, I feel like Ram is doing such a great job of telling the story and telling who these characters are, that even if there is some actual foundational storytelling going on, it's either flying over my head or I'm digesting it as so new that I'm like, I love it. So the perspective I have for this book is it feels almost indie to me. And maybe that's because I just don't know enough about the New Gods, but I absolutely adore this book.
I mean, I think that's a sign of a good story, is that you don't feel like you have to know the full backstory. I think that's kind of a curse in comics, where people read and they're like, well, I don't know if I fully got it because I don't know, is this the real version of the New Gods, or is this a counter version of the New Gods? Should I like this? Am I okay liking it because I haven't read? And it's like what you like. And so I love that you are really, really enjoying this. And I'll just say, for, I'm a DC fan like myself, New Gods are pretty foreign to me too, because New Gods are foundational to the DC universe because Jack King Kirby created them. The Fourth World is like his whole thing, and this little very abridged backstory is I think he did Thor for a long time over at Marvel. And then he
Mhm.
wanted to do this whole, and God, I hope I'm getting this right. He wanted to do this whole Ragnarok arc that was like after and all these gods and stuff like this. And he wasn't able to do it. And so then DC picked him up, and then he basically created this whole mythos of the new gods and Apocalypse and New Genesis, which was like his like big sort of like masterpiece thing.
Right.
And maybe he didn't finish that either. I'm not. I need to go do my studies, but these are old comics, and whenever you read that stuff, one, it's hard to read old comics. I don't know if you struggle with them. I'm reading
Mhm.
early Fantastic Four right now, and it's difficult to read like Stanley dialogue, very hard.
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to call that out there because you're not alone. I don't know them all that well, but I think, you do know Big Barda, and I
Yep.
think you do know Mr. Miracle.
Mhm.
And so you're kind of getting this two-parter thing, right? Where you have the Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and Baby Little Adventure, which is very kind of like grounded. It almost feels like two separate books to me. And I get
Yeah.
whiplash whenever I read this book because I'm like, I get that. And I'm like, that's fun. That's like a little adventure, a little buddy, travel across the world adventure thing. And then you get this like other thing going on up at New Genesis. And there's this bad guy like attacking. He's killing the new gods, or he's like dominating their whole world. And
Mhm.
the art is like absolutely insane. I'm so obsessed with Evan Kago right now, and I had never really read anything by him, so I picked up that Dawn Runner by Ramvi and Evan
Mhm.
Cagle, and so I'm going to read that trade just
Oh
because I
yeah.
was like, I'm so obsessed with what he's doing here and his designs and his intricate line work. I don't know how he's hitting a monthly book. I know they have other artists that kind of do pages in this
Mhm.
as well, but I think Ramvi is doing like a really, really strong kind of like vibey story that's very kind of like doing its own thing, but it also does have very humanistic elements. Like, because there's a world where this is like flying over everybody's head and is just too spacey and too space
Mhm.
opera-y. But then he grounds it with a couple who are, have a new baby and they're on the run, or they're trying to save this new god, this new god. And so I like the framing. Every time I pick up an issue, I'm kind of like, okay, wait, what happened last? Like I'm
Mhm.
very, very confused. It's like very untraditional in the way that it's told,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to be really good once it's collected in a trade for sure. It's going to read really well, and I'm loving this book, kind of week to week or month to
The
month.
Kagel book you mentioned with Ram, that's the one that's the Kaiju Ford book, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that book is awesome. Are you into have you ever watched Evangelion?
I have. I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
That's right. Okay. I do remember that. We did have that conversation. All right, good. Okay. I'm glad you're a guest host. You're qualified and you've been on the show forever, but good.
my my anime knowledge is not deep, but Evangelion is one of them, and it's top two.
Have you watched the rebuild yet?
I'm obsessed with the
Okay.
rebuild. I
Okay,
almost
perfect.
kind of
Okay.
like the rebuild. Like I love the
Uh,
rebuild. So
yeah.
good.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. All right. Let's move on to Superman Unlimited issue number 1 from Dan Slott. We didn't really talk about it because I don't think we had the show, but on Free Comic Book Day, this was teased out by Dan Slott in DC, and I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, I like Dan Slott. I haven't forgiven him yet to what he's done to Franklin and his Fantastic Four run, and I never will. But if we put that aside, if I just put that over here on this bookshelf, and we come over here to Superman Unlimited, I'm actually very intrigued with this from Free Comic Book Day. It did its job. It hooked me. I'm in. I don't even remember what happened. I just remember really enjoying it. So I do remember the artwork being really good.
Yeah.
I was very impressed. So I am, dawn of the Emerald Era, this new idea for Superman. I'm here.
Yeah. The premise of Free Comic Book Day was basically like the Daily Planet is going to expand. They're going to
Right.
use the Daily Planet's IP to be a global brand, and I think Lois Lane is the editor, and then Jimmy Olsen is going to eventually like take over different branches and stuff like that. So maybe this will be a more international Superman story, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure. And then it ended with Justice League Unlimited calling him, and they're like, Superman, we have an Omega level threat. There's a huge meteor headed to Earth. And he's like, great, I'll go take care of it. And I think he
Right.
punches it, and and in this casing was just basically a kryptonite meteor.
Kryptonite.
So then
Right.
he's just like, no, and that's like how it ends.
Yep.
I think it's fun, and I think the thing is like I am looking for a Superman book. I love to read a Superman book. I love to read a Batman book, at all times. And Superman is not hitting 100% for me, and I'm ready for a new entrant in that race, and I guess, and so I think I'm going to probably drop Superman and move my allegiances over to Superman Unlimited. I think the thing about Dan Slott that I also like is that he stays on books a long time, which gives them the room to grow and the room to like, it gives them runway. Where so many writers will jump on, you're just like, maybe he'll last 12 issues if we're lucky. You know what I mean? And then we'll get a big changeover or whatever.
Right.
Dan Slott is kind of one of those proven guys where he's not like necessarily a like S tier writer in terms of like leading and like, doing events. I don't think he really does events, but he locks into a character book. She-Hulk, Spider-Man, and Fantastic Four, and everybody has different feelings about him. Silver Surfer, and he stays on them a long time and gives them room to really grow and tell a long story that he feels. Whether you like or dislike that story is up to you, and I'm excited to see kind of where this takes us.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, I mean, do I dare say it? Sure. Potential patois. We'll see what happens.
There you go. And one more thing, I wanted to direct your attention back to Under the DC Bullet. I think Dan Moira did these for the Summer of Superman. He did these little
nice
drawing things, and those are Dan Moira's. There's like 4 of them for all the Superman books, and one's like him bursting out of like chains and stuff. And I love that they do those little squares in the top left because it's like a throwback. I always love those.
Love the classic comic cover where they show like or when they do the characters' heads.
Yes.
They do like that's so cool. I love that.
So good.
All right, let's keep it going. We got next up, we have Wonder Woman issue number 21. I haven't been on this book probably since issue 11 or 12.
I'm obsessed with Wonder Woman. Tom King has his haters, and I was not in love with his Batman run. I think he's one of the strongest, I think they call them maxi series. Maxi series are like 12 issues. Miniseries are usually like 6 issues, if I have that terminology correct. He's one of the best at maxi series for sure. As far as his ongoing, I think he can be, it's a little bit different, right? His Batman I thought had some really good highs, but a lot of lows as well, and didn't hit for me. It wasn't the Tom King that I was like fell in love with whenever I was reading like his early stuff. I think his Wonder Woman is absolutely incredible. It is so good. We are in the middle of a in-betweener arc. We finished the full first arc. That was the whole the guy who runs the guy who runs America and stuff like that. We finished that whole thing. Everybody thought it took too long. I thought it was so well done, so good. Now we're in this little detective mystery where there's a murder. I think it's Ares is murdered on Paradise Island, and who does Wonder Woman recruit to solve the murder? Because and her mom's framed, and so Ares and Hippolyta went to bed after a bacchanal, after a big party, and Ares was found murdered in bed. So then Hippolyta is the prime suspect, and Diana goes to Zeus and says, "Okay, if I can solve this in 24 hours." Then whatever, that's the deal. And I think the deal is like Batman's like, I'll do it, but like if he can't solve it, then he has to like die or something. He has to be a slave to whatever. It's fun. And they are going around interviewing all the gods. So they go to maybe Hephaestus, they go to all the different gods and are interviewing them and what happened in the night. And it's like a detective murder mystery in this book. And I think this is maybe going to be resolved in this issue. If not, I think it's a 2-issue, just like little murder mystery. And it's illustrated by Gilliam March, which I used to love and then kind of fell out of love, but I'm back because the way he did this last issue was really well done. Tom King is the king of 9-panel grids, and so you get these, classic 9-panel grids a la Alan Moore, and I just thought it was really well done. I see you shaking your head. You're not a 9-panel grid guy?
No, you're convincing me to go pick up issue 20 and then 21 this week.
Oh,
that's what you're doing.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So it's these are very very divorced from what is happening in the main sort of thing. And then the next issue will start this new arc, which is like all about the Mouse Man. And it was teased at the end of the last issue. It's like almost like this future forward thing where if you remember at the beginning of Wonder Woman, there was that one Amazon who killed an American. She she was in a bar and it's her and she's captured on this island and there's like the Mouse Man's and so it's like this new kind of like little arc and I think Tom King's having fun with it. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
I was going to walk away this week only spending like $25. And now I'm going to walk away. Like I'm going to end up spending like $35 at the comic book store because
well, I hope you like it. I mean, if you pick it up, I do hope you like it because again, like Tom King, it's
yeah.
He's a taste. It's a taste thing, and if you don't like it, I totally get it. You know what I mean? Like there are people that don't like the pacing of Wonder Woman and what's happening. I've seen people talk about it, and I'm like, everything you're saying is right, and everything you're saying is why I love it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you hit it on the head. Like I've read his Miracle Man and I loved it. So like when it came out that he was writing it, I was like, I'm on. And I don't have a problem with his writing style, but it did feel like it took a little too long for me. But I have nothing against him. There were my stack was too big and Wonder Woman just fell off. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll do what you do. It's a maybe.
I'm gonna go down repping for this run of Wonder Woman just always. I think this will, I've said it before, this will go down as one of the best runs. And we will be looking back in 10, 20 years and talking about this run of Wonder Woman. And I think the month to month, like this is taking too long, that'll all get washed away because everybody will read it in trades and people will be like, oh, dang, this is awesome.
Right on. All right. We did some reshuffling because I forgot to add it at the beginning of the show. So here it is. Absolute Flash, issue number 3 from Jeff Lemire. I'm liking it. It's fun. I'm just not, again, I'm not as versed. So this absolute stuff, I'm just eating it all up. And I've liked it. It felt, the first 2 issues to me felt very indie. Again, that could be just my outside perspective, but it did. And I think the introduction of the manipulated monkey, I don't remember the name of the monkey.
Really Grodd.
Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that Grodd?
I think so. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know. I don't have the knowledge. So when it was introduced, it started feeling like when we did that, that's when this book started feeling more DC, in my opinion, which was
in a bad way.
I guess in
a good way or a bad way.
Whenever
you say it feels like DC, is that a neg? Is that a negative thing? Like this started to feel DC.
A little bit, maybe a little bit. And the only reason why I say that is that's when it felt like a classic DC trope. Like, and then here's the monkey buddy, and I'm like, oh, what happened? We were doing who's the dude that is that Reverse Flash that's in that died and came back? Like what what's going on with time? I loved it. And then, bring out the secret weapon, monkey. And I'm like, okay, I'll read it. I'll keep reading it. I'm not upset about it. It just felt classic. Like, oh, and here, it's feeling too much indie. Here's some DC. Like that's what it felt like. I know that's not fair, but that's what it felt like to me. But anyway, I am interested in it. I like it. I love the character design. I do like, or do we have the same artist as we had on the last 2 issues? I hope that's the case. Because the use of colors, the reds and the yellows and the time shift, I know it can be confusing for some people. I'm enjoying it. I'm eating it up. So monkey aside, I'm sure it'll be a cool mechanic. But I'm liking Absolute Flash. There's not. I think Batman's probably on a lower bar for me right now than Flash. No, the book that's on a low bar for me, again, it's just not hitting it for me, is Absolute Green Lantern. That's the one that I'm like,
Mhm.
me. But Flash, I'm all about
I am all about this monkey, dude. I love this. So I read issue 1 and I'm not continuing to read it. Not because I didn't like it, thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I will probably pick it up and trade.
Trade.
And no, I will. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to read this and Green Lantern. I want to keep tabs on all of the Absolute Universe, but I'm just can't pick it up. But then whenever I see this monkey, I'm like, dude, I gotta know about Grodd. And so the twist that I don't know if you know or don't know, but Gorilla Grodd is like a big villain, and he's a gigantic gorilla who has telekinesis. So whenever they're like, bring out Grodd, you're expecting to. Okay, so you got it.
Yeah.
But you're just like, I don't want a little monkey sidekick. So that's where me, I'm like, oh, I love this little monkey sidekick. I'm all about this monkey sidekick. So I think that's a fun play. And that's the kind of play to me that's like, it's like bad guy to good guy is like, not necessarily interesting, but I think this is playful in a way that is, with the Absolute Universe, you have to change up this stuff significantly enough. And I feel like Batman's not switching it up almost big enough. And this is where it's just like, I feel like making Wally West the lead and making like, these one of his iconic, villains. A little buddy. That's fun to me. So can't wait to read it. Can't wait to look at his design. Look at that little guy. He's cute.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He is cute. Well, I'll keep it there.
It's just a little too DC.
I'll give it a shot. That's all I'll say. I'll give it a shot. I just wasn't I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, oh, that's where we're going. So
I'm gonna start using that though on this show. That's just a little too DC.
It's a little too DC.
I think things are bad.
Hey, I'm interrupting the video. It's only because I've got something really important to tell you. I know you know what we're giving away when we hit 2,000 subscribers. I gotta let you know about what we're giving away when we hit 1,250 subscribers. We're giving away this Uncanny X-Men #1 signed by Jim Chung, CGC grade 9.8. When we hit 1,250 subscribers, you could potentially win this, but you have to be subscribed to our channel. So hit that sub button, ring that bell, and give us a like. Let's get back to the video, shall we? Jumping over to Marvel, we have One World Under Doom tie-in Fantastic 1, issue number 32 from North.
So we are counting down from 4 to 0, and then we're going to get a relaunch. And you're going to go back to Fantastic Four #1 with a new artist. And we are still in the One World Under Doom stuff. I think Ryan North ties in that stuff really well. Last issue was a lot of the commentary on Ben Grimm losing his rock powers. You're losing his powers. And it was... he needed some fun because he was down in the dumps. So Alicia Masters and She-Hulk took him out on a little adventure, and I can't remember the details, to be perfectly honest. And honestly, that's kind of how a lot of these issues are, because Ryan North is doing one and done issues, which is very traditional to comics. They aren't locking into my brain because I don't need to remember what happened last time, because each one is a standalone.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like read it and I move on. But I enjoy it so much whenever I read it. And it really shows the creativity of Ryan North to come up with a whole new concept and a whole new idea each issue. And I find it really strong. I see Valeria on the cover. Now you have my attention. I love Valeria so much. She's like the best member of the team. She's the best member of the Fantastic Four. I love her. So I'm all about her. I'm excited about reading this one. And yeah, that's where we're gonna go. I think the relaunch is a little... I don't like it when they're relaunching for no good reason other than a new Marvel movie is coming out. And I cannot remember who the artist is. It's kind of like a classic artist, but is not my favorite style either. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's
but
DC, yeah.
Well, it is actually a little DC, because I think it's the artist who did Impulse back in the day. I'll have to look it up, but
okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's whenever I'm right there with you. Like when they're like, we're bringing back, and I'm like, no. Anytime I hear we're bringing back, I'm like, it's usually not good. So it's nostalgic. To do it for nostalgic's sake it's not acceptable. I'm just saying it really has to be good. Anyway, talking about really good, we have Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu, issue number 8 from McKay. This is I've told you before, Blaine, I think if you're looking for something new to read, it's anything Moon Knight from McKay. It's a decent amount of books to read to get to where we're at now, which is issue 8 of a completely relaunch, or not relaunched. It's just a title relaunch, but it's the same continuation of the story of Mark Spector and his crew, Fist of Khonshu. We've got this, I can't remember the name of the character here, but she is wielding a blade from Asgard. So we're not messing around here. We've got a gang that is pumping drugs into the city, into Mark Spector's territory. I think it's called Glitter, if I'm not mistaken. And they pinned it on Mark Spector and his crew. So he's kind of fighting a double-edged sword right now with the public perception of him pushing drugs that he's not, but they think it is. And then we've got this gang, and we've got this hitman, or this muscle that they're using, where this woman who has I don't remember who she killed a Norse god to get the sword. And so it's not just a big old sword. It's an Asgardian sword. It's got some magical properties. And Mark is not looking too good on the cover. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen in the book. We don't tend to get red herring covers from Moon Knight. Usually what's happening on the cover is probably going to happen in the book. So this run has been fantastic. McKay, he's got his hands in a lot of different books right now. He's over at with the Avengers. He's got Moon Knight. He's got X-Men. I would say Moon Knight is probably his strongest book right now. It just is. He's got the dynamic of the team locked in. You've got plenty of action and storytelling going on. You've got a romantic story going on, potentially a love triangle. I won't spoil it here. So it's just got kind of everything. And to see where we're pushing the story forward with issue 8, the group is down right now. They've been blackmailed. They're being pushed as drug dealers. They lost their Midnight Mansion, which was probably one of the coolest mechanics of the entire story, but it made sense because it was too overly invisible force fieldy. You can't have a character or secret lair that can just do whatever it wants. The book doesn't make any sense. It's just not fun to read after that point. So we had a natural reset when we hit into Fist of Khonshu, and it's been fun. I thought I'd be upset about it, but I'm loving it. So I cannot wait to read issue 8.
Yeah, that cover's so dope. I read Moon Knight for a long time, and then finally dropped it, not for any quality reasons, but just because, as I do, just cut back a little bit. And it is one where I want to go revisit. And whenever these runs go on like this long, it always makes me regret dropping them, because I'm like, oh, that's an all-time Moon Knight run, and I should have been reading it at the time. I've done this with other books where like you drop it in the middle of an all-timer, and then you have to go back and read it, and you're like, oh, that's gonna be the one. Whenever people are like, what's the Moon Knight one? It's like, because it's so long, and you can, again, whenever you can tell a long story, you can really, really inject it with a lot of emotion, a lot of meaning, and a lot of, just good times. Didn't have a third bullet there. I needed that third bullet.
No, I think the third would be is you just resonate with the characters more. You you feel like you're a part of it. And you kind of own it. When you come out and you're like, oh yeah, no, this is the story I want to read. This is a story that feels like it's written for me. So I totally agree. All right, our last book of the night is The Ultimates, issue number 12 from Camp. Ooh, we have been cooking, and it feels like for a long time, but not really. I mean, it's only the 12th issue of The Ultimates, but man, things are getting intense. This cover is pretty crazy, but not for it happens. It has happened. This Tony Stark of The Ultimates has been deconstructed and reconstructed. And it's been gruesome, to say the least. We've seen, where he's watching live feed of the team getting their asses kicked, and his spine is being put back together as it's happening. And he's not taking any pain medication for it. He's just fighting through it. And it's crazy. So I think we're going to finally get a Tony Stark centric, like where he's been, what he's dealt with. And I think this is where he might, even though he already has kind of taken charge and he sent out these modules to recruit these heroes who they used to be and who they're going to be in this entire run. And now I feel like it's going to be kind of like the second coming of Tony in the Ultimates. He's going to have a little bit more fire in his spirit, obviously, because he was broken quite literally. And now he's coming back. and I think he's not going to play around. Not that he was, but I think the kid energy, the attitude he had, where he was kind of just like this young face, this young buck, I think is going to go away, and we're going to really get a much more, I wouldn't say dark or sinister version of Iron Lad. I think he's just going to be much more laser focused on his campaign to stop the Maker in the Ultimates run.
Mm-hmm. I have a quick pop quiz for you.
Yep.
This is issue number 12. If you had to guess, what was the issue where he got, beat up by Hulk? If you had to guess the issue number, what issue do you think that would have been?
I'm going to say 8 or 7.
Closer than I would have guessed. It's 6. And the reason I say that is because that's the last thing I remember happening in this book. Like, I can't remember the other things that have happened. I went back and just clicked through a bunch of issues over at the League, and it's like, okay, they had the Power Man issue. There was the Namor issue where they go try to find Namor. Mm-hmm. There was the Asgardian issue that was all like a big limerick or whatever it was. Yeah. And I've kind of got to the point, not that I'm like, okay, on to the next thing, but this is the same thing, I believe. Oh, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy issue. Mm-hmm. But none of those things really anything happened. They're either doing a little bit of recruiting, but it's not like it's not moving the ball forward, I guess. And I think it's an interesting maybe parallel to what I was talking about with Wonder Woman, where it is very slow in terms of like actual plot movement that's moving. But each issue is like this little standalone art piece that is like very unique. It's doing its totally own thing in terms of like telling like a very comic forward story. Mm-hmm. And I love this. Having said all that, I'm ready for I'm ready for the Maker to get out of here. I'm ready for the Maker to come on out. Let's do this. And I believe the whole premise for this is that each month is a month in the universe. And so I think he was supposed to be in there for 1 year or 2 years. I can't remember, because now we're at the mark. We're at the and next issue it says Ultimates 3.0 issue year 2 starts now. When is the Maker coming out?
I want to say 2. But maybe it's 1. For some reason 2 resonates more. I don't know why.
I think sounds right to me. Because otherwise it would be like it's almost here. But anyway, I love all the things you were saying about Tony Stark, because it will be really cool to see this next iteration of Iron Lad, and this is a very sort of striking cover, and I'm really eager to sort of see where it goes. But I think Denys Camp is just such a strong writer that even the day-to-day, even if nothing happens, he's so good at just showing the little bits of the universe, showing the little characters. What is the ultimate version of this character? It's Namor. He's dead, but then you get the Punisher out of it, or whoever that. I can't remember the details of it, but he's doing some really good stuff.
I think year 2 is going to be crazy, because I remember seeing solicitations for the Miles Morales Ultimates book, and he's going to be meeting up with Peach Momoko's X-Men and a version of the Silver Samurai. And I'm like, sign me up, dude. Like I cannot wait. So it's going to be fun. I think year 2, we're really going to, the countdown to the Maker. You bet money on it. The countdown to the Maker will be the summer event for Marvel in 2026.
Can't wait.
All right, this is going to do it for this week's new comic day video for the week of May 21st. Let us know down in the comments, what are you picking up today? What are you going to read first? And what's your potential pick of the week? We'd love to know. As always, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. It'd be much appreciated, as we're on the road to 1,250 subscribers, but we can't do it without your help. So if you're not already subbed, hit that sub button. Also, make sure to check out Blaine's comic podcast, Comic Club Podcast. It is an awesome show where he does a lot of great reviews. He does some sneak peeks. He does the full dive of these books. So go check that out. A ton of content. And if you're ever looking for something to listen to on the drive home or while you're cooking, Blaine's got you covered. So definitely go check that out. What's currently? Are we still doing our current stuff, or we got anything new on the slate?
This month, we're reading The Incal by Jodorowsky and Mobius. And then coming up this summer, we're going to be doing Ghost Machine. So we're reading Geiger, Redcoat, and Junkyard Joe. And then maybe throwing in Rook Exodus. We're just doing it all.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. I remember I dabbed a little bit into Rook, and I don't know if I finished or not, so I might have to jump on that journey. Anyways, we'll catch you guys live this Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, where we'll talk about all these books and more. And I'm pretty excited because, for once, I'm not in the driver's seat. Blaine is taking over. This is going to be Blaine's show. It is Blaine's fat pull list. So we'll catch you guys this Sunday. As always, comic fan, be kind to one another and read more comics. Later.